Hey, Christina,
Hey,
welcome.
thank you.
So let's introduce ourselves to the audience. If they haven't heard me before, my name is Dee Lisa West. I'm a dream doula. I help people with their dreams, the kind they have while they're awake and the kind they have while they're sleeping.
Ooh, I love that. I am Christina Spataro. I'm a psychotherapist and relationship coach. I help people turn their dreams into reality by overcoming the obstacles.
I love it. And we didn't even decide, as I stutter a little, we didn't quite decide what we're going to talk about. Usually we just talk about what's on top of mind. Top of
Right.
my mind today was time and money freedom. I've spent
Oh,
most of my life saying, oh, I can't do that. I don't have enough money. I can't do that. I don't have enough time. And how does one get to that place where you have all the time that you would love
mm-hmm,
to have to give and do things, and you have all the money that will fund that life as well?
mm-hmm.
Let's talk about how you can do that in the most simplest way.
Okay. So, simplest way, win the lotto. No, just kidding. No,
Maybe, they have done studies on people that won the lottery, and if they started out poor, they were poor in the next 5 years.
it's true. In fact, what was it? A friend had once shown me an article that apparently anyone that's ever won a considerable amount of money in the lotto wound up being thoroughly miserable. Like all these terrible people in the lotto. And I think it's not so much how much money you have or how much time you have, but how you maximize the time and money that you have. How
True.
do you see your money as a tool to let you do things, or do you see it as like I have to hold on to it for dear life because I could easily lose it, or do you see it as a weapon to be used against others? How do you see your time? Do you see it as a gift? Each day you're on this planet, so you're going to make sure that you will still make time for the people you love, the things you love. Do you, like, again, I think it's what value are you putting on the time and money that you currently have?
That's beautifully put because I have heard, um, I'm studying with a woman now who has been a consultant for people that don't have money and for people that have millions and millions and millions of dollars.
Mhm.
And she said some of the richest people she's ever helped are the most miserable. If anyone's listening to this and they're thinking that can't be true, if I had money, I'd be happy. Pretty much everybody says money doesn't make you happy. Now,
Yeah,
having your basic needs met is important. You need to
right.
be able to have a place to live and food and
Of
clothes to
course.
wear.
Yes,
But beyond that, what do you need for happiness?
exactly. What do you need for happiness? What brings you happiness? And you bring up a good point, because the idea is that people say, well, if I have money, then I'm not worry. Well, here's the thing though. Once basic needs are met, you've got food, clothing, shelter. How much more do you really need? And this is where we get into, are you succumbing to the idea that you need to have this thing to be happy? I can't tell you how many people who I've worked with have said, well, if I get this thing, I'll be happy. Or if I have this thing, I'll be happy. But the problem is you're deferring your happiness. And I've actually said it to them in those terms. You're deferring your happiness. You're basically banking your happiness on whether or not you get this thing. So what happens if you don't get it? You're going to be unhappy?
Well, what happens if you do get it?
Exactly. And then it doesn't live up to your expectations, because sometimes we
Hmm.
put so much expectations on getting something that when we actually get it, we're disappointed.
Yeah. Well, I remember having a big goal, like long, long time ago. My
Mhm,
goal for many years was get married, have kids.
mhm.
Get married, have kids, get married, have kids. Oh, sidetrack, go do this really fun thing. Then get
Yes.
married, have kids, get married, have kids, sidetrack, go do this other fun thing. And then one day I realized I was 35 years old and I better get it together.
Mhm.
So I did get married and I did have kids. And one day I sat around and I thought to myself, oh no, what's next?
Mm,
I got what I wanted all these many, 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 many years of life.
right.
I'm married. I have kids. Now what?
Now what?
Because if you're dreaming up a life, you have to keep dreaming the next thing,
Hmm.
whatever that thing is.
Exactly.
And I think most people say it's not the thing that you get. It's the road that leads you there. It's the life that you're having while you're going to the thing.
Right. Right. Absolutely. It's the
Which
road
brings
you're
us
having.
back to, yeah, which brings us back to the whole time and money freedom. If you could do anything and go anywhere and be with anyone, what would you do?
Hmm.
And then you have to ask yourself, why aren't you doing it right now?
Hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. What's stopping you? And I get people are going to say, oh, well, I don't have the money for, okay, okay. But if this is something you really want, is there a way for you to actually make it happen? Is there a
Yes,
way?
because if you want it to happen, you'll figure out how to get the money. If you
Exactly.
like, one of my friends wanted to go to France multiple many, many years ago,
Mhm.
and she did a fundraiser. She's a musician. She said, "Listen, give me this much money and you can have a t-shirt. This much money, I'll write a song for you. This much money, I'll do a concert at your house." And before you knew it, she had raised enough money to go on her vacation trip to France. And now she goes to
Cool.
France every year.
Wow.
And I haven't had to donate to a fundraiser lately to help her. So she must have found other ways to fund that dream. But you don't have to have all the money in your bank account to go have a trip.
You know, you know,
Maybe you just need a friend with a car.
there you friend with a car, or they have like you can have house exchanges, that kind of thing. There's a lot of different ways you could fund a trip.
Yeah.
I'm gonna use a movie.
Let me make a note of that.
So like there's a movie called The Holiday with Kate Winslet, Cameron Diaz, Jude Law, and Jack Black. And it starts out, you have these two women. One is based in the UK, in England, and the other one is based in LA. And they each are going through a difficult romantic breakup type situation at the beginning of the movie, and they just want to get away. So they swap houses. One goes to there's cottage in England, and the other one goes to this house in LA. But it really is about how both their lives transform by a change of venue, change of perspective, and meeting different people. So I don't know, like this, they use a site which was like a house exchange thing. Perhaps something like that exists. If you want to go to another country and change of scene, maybe you can swap homes with somebody. Now, granted, you still got to do your due diligence, make sure you're not swapping with a serial killer. But if you do your due diligence and background check and you find somebody who, needs a change, you need a change, that's another option.
Yes. House sitting, cat sitting, dog sitting. I met a woman one year who was she came to the block watch party in the neighborhood I lived in, and she said, "Well, I don't live here. I'm sitting house sitting for your neighbors. So here I am at your block watch party." She
There
had
you
been
go.
house sitting for 3 years. So everything she owned was in her mother's garage or in a storage unit somewhere in Arizona. And she had been to the UK. She'd been to Florida, Canada. When I met her, she was in Seattle, Washington, and she was having a lovely time, staying in lovely homes and taking care of lovely pets for people. And I don't know if she got paid to do it or if it was a free gig. I'm not entirely sure how she made that happen, but obviously she got to travel around
Exactly.
and have fun.
There you go. So if you want to travel somewhere, you can pet sit, house sit, swap. There's different options. So
Yeah.
that goes back to the time and money. What do you value? What do you want to invest your time and money in?
Yeah, because the idea that we just have this one life And every
Mhm.
day we wake up to another day of life. And then what are you doing?
Exactly. Exactly.
It's like this is a gift from the universe to be alive today. What are you doing with
Mhm.
it?
What are you doing with your gift? Absolutely.
Well, it's summertime in the northern hemisphere, and I was just thinking about I was reading like the best summertime beach read for, reading the latest books. And then I thought, "Ooh, have I gone to the beach? Have I read a summertime book?
Mm-hmm.
What a cool idea." And um what a fun concept that it's time to start going on vacations, or it's time to start going to the beach. It's time to start getting out those fun books to read.
Exactly. Time to start doing that.
So time and money freedom. If someone's in your practice and they're complaining they don't have the time or they don't have the money, what do
Mhm.
you tell them?
I tell them, okay, first we have to figure out what is it you really want. Because sometimes what they initially say they want, there's something underneath that want. So we need to
Mm.
get to what your true want is. What is your true want? Okay. Once you have
Ooh,
your,
that's so beautifully put. I remember my favorite minister in Seattle said once she really wanted to have a sports car.
Mhm.
And she was married at the time to a guy who had quite a lot of money. So he bought her a fancy sports car. And then she realized she didn't really want the car. She wanted power. She wanted the power that car gave her. The feeling she had when she drove it was this
Interesting.
powerful feeling. And good for her for owning up to that, because I think
Yes.
a lot of people have powerful cars that they love to
Mhm.
drive
Oh yeah.
fast.
Mm.
And is it the car they love? Maybe it's not. Maybe it's that feeling of being powerful in
Right.
in a powerful machine.
Yes. And then also the need to feel power. What
Right.
is it? What is it that's driving you to that desire for power? Are you perhaps feeling like power has been taken away from you in some way? Do you feel maybe you've been put upon and you think if you could feel powerful, then it will undo that?
Yes.
Gotta
Yes.
always get everything, gotta get down those layers, peel away what's underneath, what's underneath, what's underneath, what's underneath. And then when you get to the heart of that, then that is your true want. That is your true need. And how do you make that happen? And you find the true want and need is actually deceptively simple.
Mm. Like what?
Like, for instance, maybe underneath the power, the true want or need is to feel heard, is to feel accepted, is to feel valued. So then, what makes you feel valued? What is it you want to put out there in the universe, in the world? What is it you want people to recognize you for?
That's beautifully, beautifully put. So if someone says, I don't have the time for that, or I don't have the money for that, really, alternatively, they should say, I choose not to do that right now.
Exactly. I'm choosing not to do that right now.
And because if they really, really, really wanted it, they'd
Mhm.
find the time and they'd find the money.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, people, go find the time and the money to do what you would love, to do something that lights you up.
Mm-hmm. And that's the key. Do the thing that lights you up. Forget about what you're seeing on Instagram, TikTok. Forget about that. What lights you up? What lights you up? And
Mm,
that's what you got to pursue.
that's beautiful. Thank you, Christina. As always, a great talk.
Yes, definitely. Thank you.
Talk soon.
Talk soon.